Today we're learning about three-phase electricity and making my most powerful hand-cranked generator to date. Then seeing what kind of loads we can power with it. Welcome to episode 4 of my generator series. I have here a single-phase electric generator which produces around 15 watts of electricity, which is not bad. It's enough to power some LED lights or eventually charge a cell phone, but it's not powerful enough. It currently has a single serpentine winding made of 48 loops of insulated copper wire that weave back and forth around this 3D printed guide, which is called a stator. Inside the stator we have something called a rotor. This is what holds a bunch of permanent magnets, producing 4 north and 4 south magnetic poles around its circumference. As the rotor spins, those magnetic poles travel past the copper windings, producing their maximum voltage at the leading and trailing edge of the winding, and producing 0 volts in between. So to make this generator significantly more powerful, I want to use this wasted empty space between the existing windings to add another copper winding. However, because the new winding will sit offset from the first winding, the magnets will pass it slightly later, and its output will be delayed, out of phase with the first winding. Thus we now have a 2-phase generator, which could be useful, but we have space for a third winding, and a 3-phase system offers some clever advantages we might look at a bit later on. So let's build one. I think this will be a lot easier if I take the stator off the machine, and I might make these bolts go in from the front on the next version. Here I'm trying to work the copper wire as deep as possible into the gap and installing a keeper on top to hold it in place. If phase 2 and 3 windings sit further out from the rotor, they might produce a lower voltage than phase 1. Speaking of phase 3, let's spin that up now. And it doesn't fit. Which makes sense, I suppose. This winding has to climb up and over the first 2, so it needs to be a bit longer. I made up these larger radius guides. Let's give them a try. That's much better. And now to tie off the 2 free ends of the wires for strain relief. Thanks for watching, guys. Just kidding, we'll fix her up. I think I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Let's test it. Alright, I've got the 3 outputs from our generator connected to the oscilloscope here. Let's have a look and see what our waveform looks like. You can see here that our waveform is a little lumpy because the magnets on our rotor are spaced a bit too far apart. Also, our second and third phases are producing less power than the first because their windings sit a little further away from the rotor. So it's not a perfect design, but we can still use it. So I've got this 3-phase bridge rectifier which converts our 3-phase AC into a useful DC output. But before I try that, I'd like to try driving a 3-phase motor with our 3-phase generator. So let's give that a try. Often called brushless DC motors, these drone motors are actually three-phase synchronous AC motors that can be driven directly from a three-phase supply. And because they're synchronous permanent magnet motors, their speed should always perfectly match the generator. But it might need a little push to get started. So that worked pretty well, but I can't think of any other three-phase stuff I can power at home, so let's get that rectifier installed and power some direct current devices. We can see that straight out of the bridge rectifier we're getting this sawtooth direct current profile, fluctuating between 26 and 40 volts. We can see the uneven contribution from each of the three windings. But if we add a large capacitor to absorb those spikes, we should get a pretty smooth output. Let's give it a try. There we have it, a beautifully smooth output up to about 40 volts DC with no load attached. Let's see if we can power this 30-watt LED floodlight. Alrighty, I've got the rectifier set up here with capacitors connected to a shunt which is going to be able to give us a current and voltage readout on this here display. And then our cable runs off to our tripod mounted LED light which is pointed straight at the camera, so enjoy that. Let's give it a try. It looks like this light only wants to use 20 watts of power, even though the generator is capable of more. Let's spin the light around and see if it can light the whole scene. You may have noticed that the light draws around 1.2 amps near 12 volts or 0.6 amps near 24 volts. The electronics inside the light fitting are only allowing 14.4 watts to pass to the light-emitting diode, regardless of the supply voltage. Also, a tiny tangent if you might indulge me, if you've ever heard of Color Rendering Index or CRI ratings for LED lights, this light has the worst CRI I've ever seen. Anyway, let's find something more challenging. Here I've got a 24-volt industrial worm drive motor. Will it spin? It looks like we maxed out around 30 watts that time, but I think the generator has a little more to give, so let's try the motor and light at the same time. That's more like it. We reached a maximum power of 44 watts just before I crashed the crank handle into the bench. That's 3 times the power we got from our single-phase generator, which makes a whole lot of sense. I forgot to turn on my microphone here, but I'm asking you to let me know in the comments what you might like to see next. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.